So this is Sangiovese wine grapes here, and when we actually go in and harvest these by hand, what we will do is we want to select and cut the grape right at the peduncle, cut this bunch right at the peduncle. So they're called either bunches or clusters. So we want to cut the cluster right there at the peduncle, which most of us will just call the stem. But beneath all of this is actually all of our wine grapes are on a structure called a rachis, and that's what the rachis looks like underneath all of that. And during the winemaking process, we'll take the rachis out through a process called destemming. And so we'll only be fermenting the crushed wine grapes and not these green stems. In a normal hand-pick situation, we'll have to have a crew of 40 or 50 guys picking this fruit by hand, and it could go on for 2, 3, or 4 days, which means that we have to compromise a little bit on when the exact moment of maturity is. So what's also really important with hand harvesting is when you go in here and you actually are cutting a vine, when you're cutting a cluster away from the vine, we want to make sure that we don't get leaves inside the bucket, because we want to have as little MOG as we can. Now, MOG is an acronym, M-O-G, for material other than grapes. So it's really important that when we deliver fruit to the winery, that we're delivering it in the cleanest possible way. So we want to try to make sure that when we're going in here picking as fast as we can, that we're not grabbing other leaves and pulling them into our load. Another thing that we want to do when we're hand harvesting is we have the opportunity to select the highest quality fruit. And so if you happen to see a bunch like second crop, which is sometimes located up higher in the canopy, this is crop that was perhaps the maturity is far behind the primary crop. We want to make sure not to include that, because the maturity of that fruit will be far behind the maturity of our primary crop. And so that's one of the opportunities we have when we're hand picking, is to select exactly what fruit you want to take to the winery.